Hello and welcome. Well, today we're going to go over the transits for the week as well as the Scorpio full moon, which is on Tuesday. So remember that we're still under the influence of the eclipse for about the next 5 months, as well as this weekend's Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So before we get into this, if you would, down below, subscribe to my channel. And if you end up liking the video at the end, please make sure you hit a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. I also have links below to subscribe to my newsletter, which is a subscription based through Substack, or you can sign up on my website, and I'll put all the links below. If you don't know me, I'm Sara Bourland, and I'm a professional evolutionary and psychological astrologer whose focus is on guiding people to understand their soul purpose. And if we just tune into the natural cycles, which is what astrology is so great at sharing, is we can learn a lot about ourselves. And in my particular case, there was a tremendous healing that occurred. So let's go ahead and get into this. So happy Earth Day, everybody. I'm recording this on April 22nd, and 54 years ago today was Earth Day in 1970. So I'm just going to kick this off with sharing a couple of slides with you. So the first slide here is the Venus conjunction with Chiron in Aries that actually happened a couple of days ago, and it's still within a conjunction range. It's just not exact. I'm giving you the exact times, as you'll see on the chart there. Or is it over there? I'm not quite sure. So Venus is the planet of love, and it's traveling through fiery Aries right now, and it's connected to the planet Chiron, which is the planet of woundedness. And then, of course, on the flip side, it's also a potential healing place. So for me, this speaks to it could be a disappointment. Things just didn't work out the way you wanted to. And when Chiron's involved, it hurts, it stings. Venus is our values, what we love, and what we hold dear. And when Chiron's involved, it feels like it cuts deeply. It's a woundedness or a hurt that is this is not new, right? This is that age-old hurt, the one that comes up time and time again. It's the place where we don't feel adequate. It's the place where we feel less than, and we all have it somewhere. But right now it's transiting through the sky. So there's an element of this thread for each of us. And depending upon your particular chart, it's going to feel very strong, or you might not necessarily notice it. I know I certainly have noticed it on Friday. So this actually at 20 degrees is still, as you see it here on the chart, we have Venus conjunct Chiron at 20 degrees a couple of days ago, and Venus is pulling away just ever so slowly. But this is really close to the April 8th solar eclipse point. And the solar eclipse actually had Chiron conjunction very close, which I talked about in my solar eclipse video, which you could listen to again. And in Aries, it might be about getting things done. Maybe it's your confidence level or the value that you place on being able to manifest things. And when Chiron's involved, it can kind of muck up the works a little bit, not permanently, but certainly it might have you question yourself. And this is the place where the healing can occur, depending upon how aware you are and how reflective of yourself and kind of your patterns that you go through, kind of just in your mind, in your emotional heart. This is the place where you can kind of look at it and go, I recognize that it's happening again. And be able to kind of put it into context and move on. Or maybe there's a healing that happens just, like a layer of an onion, just another layer gets pulled back and the healing comes up. So as Venus pulls away, I mean, Mercury is still in the neighborhood, right? It's still within orb. So Mercury will actually be exactly conjunct Chiron in about 10 days or a week and a half. And right now, Mercury's involved and it's asking you, like, what is your mindset around what you are trying to initiate? Because any little minor wound of Chiron or slight injury or maybe questioning you have about it won't necessarily be enough to knock you from the direction that you're heading, but it will be an opportunity for you to notice your pattern once again and maybe kind of level up on the healing or understand where it's coming from. And again, Mercury is still retrograde. So even though it's in the neighborhood, it is still asking you to review, right? Check your mindset. What do you think about this? Is it accurate? Is this story that you're telling yourself true? Is it a story that needs revising? Where did it start from? Where did it come from? So a lot of really good questions that you can ask yourself. And certainly this is the time where there's an opening to peel back another layer and begin to heal this space even more than you have already. Tuesday, tomorrow, is the full moon. So at about 10 minutes to 5 o'clock here in Mountain Standard Time where I live, um, and actually Pacific time because they're the same time zone right now. The full moon is in Scorpio at 4 degrees and 17 minutes. Now, this creates a T-square, the full moon, which of course is the moon opposite the sun, exact opposite, and it creates a T-square with Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio, the modern ruler. So this is likely to be a very emotional time. I know certainly I'm already starting to feel it. It actually is within range of some things in my chart, but when Pluto squares the sun and the moon are our primary lights. The sun is our sense of self, and that of course the moon, which is reflected light of the sun, is represents our emotional nature. And these are in challenging positions with Pluto, which is the planet of power, control, and of course, ultimately, we hope transformation. So for me, this speaks to aha moments that are occurring. And the one thing with Scorpio, a Scorpio moon, is that it does not shy away from emotions. So if you are normally a person who likes to compartmentalize, or you kind of can put your emotions on the shelf, you might find that this is a time where you're going to start feeling things really deeply because Scorpio is intense and Scorpio wants to feel it all. Scorpio loves the deep dive. So you may you may be feeling things more intensely than you're used to. Um, Now, it's often that we can kind of shove our emotion to the side, especially if you're hardwired in a way that emotions are not that comfortable for you. Um, you're going to find during this particular full moon that the emotions are more in your face and feeling more intense. So, Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, the modern ruler, demands that you sit up and pay attention to your emotional body. And I'm actually writing a book on the emotional body and how our emotions kind of drive so much of our instincts and so on, as well as our reactions. So, Scorpio, which is a water sign, really demands that we be present and we be with our emotions, and they do serve a purpose. So, this is a really good thing. This is not a time that you're going to be able to shelf your emotions. This is a time when you really want to be with them. So, ask yourself, give yourself those moments of contemplation. And I recommend that if you can, find a place where you can be alone for a little bit and ask yourself, like, what exactly, like, be with those emotions. What is it that you're feeling? What is it that you truly feel? Like, face them up front. And are your physical, emotional, and mental needs being met? And what is bugging you right now, right? Just stop for a moment and just find out, check in with yourself where you're at. It may be a little harder during this particular time to filter yourself, but that is not an excuse to act poorly or a license to do so just because the emotions are so raw. Just notice them and be with them and get the wisdom that comes from being at this particular place. It's short. The moon moves so quickly. It's going to move, it moves 13 degrees in a day. So the influence is just for a day, just for a moment. You might be feeling it already, or not, but it's a good time to kind of just be alone. Now, as Ram Dass says, or the book, be here now. Too often we are not present for our lives, and this is just a great time to be in tune and have a silent conversation with yourself. Just figure out where you're at. Give yourself a moment to feel and to breathe and to check in. Again, we're still Mercury retrograde just for a few more days. So this is a great reflective time. So now 2 days ago, the sun met Pluto, and there was a realization about your sense of power and control. And then Tuesday, tomorrow, the moon follows up just shortly before the exact conjunction, and it does this tense connection with Pluto. So the key with the moon and with our emotions is that humans, we don't make change unless we feel uncomfortable. As I always say, there has to be a push and there has to be a pull. So we have this buildup, right? When things aren't working, we will go along to get along just to not rock the boat. And the emotions do have to get to a point of critical mass. And I'm not saying they're going to be a critical mass for this particular Scorpio full moon. I'm just saying in general. So just notice where you're at. And there may be some stubbornness or inflexibility that you might be in resistance. And just know that that is also part of this fixed energy. Let me see what else I wanted to cover on this. All right. I think I've covered everything. So if you have fixed planets, the people who are going to feel this more intensely are Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, especially if you have early planets in the early degrees, because this is 4 degrees. So anything 8 degrees or lower within those signs, you're definitely going to be feeling this moon. Scorpio moons are intense. So it's likely that you're going to be feeling a little bit more emotional. Because again, Scorpio moons don't allow you to keep things in the shadow. It wants you to pull things out of the closet, out from under the bed that you've been hiding, you've been shoving away. It really wants you and is asking you to really dive into the energy. And be free with it, right? On your own terms, but really have that communication. So anyway, enough on that. So this week on Thursday, Mercury stations direct. So yay, we're just about the end of our 3-week Mercury retrograde. Mercury is moving stations direct at 15 degrees Aries, which is conjunct the North Node. And this is a nod to the North Node, which is the direction of your life. And again, in Aries, again, repeated themes of initiative, pioneering spirit, the urge to take action. With Mercury there, it's speaking to what you want, thinking about what you want to manifest, and taking action, right? You have the ideas, you have the intellect, and you have the urge to take action. So this is a really beautiful signature. Now on Sunday, the 28th, Mars meets with Neptune in a conjunction in Aries again. We have so much in Aries right now and in Taurus. This is about our intuition, our visionary side, all culminating in the take action, take initiative sign of Aries. So I see this as the beginnings of creating and manifesting. And again, Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is, equated, I always think of it as spring, like all this new growth, all these things starting. So, some really nice things to wrap up the week. So, this particular week is just filled with Martian and Plutonic energy as both being the rulers, both traditional and modern, of Aries. We're still steeped in the message that is rolling in on the April 8th solar eclipse. It isn't just a one day and done. It's messages and so on will come into play as time moves on. So just be listening, listen to your dreams, listen to the signs that are out there. And then, of course, the Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus, which just happened this weekend. There's a tremendous focus of this pileup of planets currently, as you can see in the chart right here. Just look at all of those planets, like all in one place. And then here's Pluto, and here's the moon and the south node. Again, pile up in Aries and Taurus. So the ruler of those two signs, of course, Mars and Venus. So the big message is what is it that you value? And what is it that you're willing to fight for? What is it that you desire? And what is it that you're willing to take action on? So if you can marry those two, that is this Venus Mars principle, right? What is it that matters in your life? So I'm going to end with this note. And it's kind of a funny thing. I was looking for something to end with. It is still Poetry Month. And my husband had a truck a really long time ago. I mean, my kids were babies. So this is a long, long time ago. And he had purchased a used truck. And it came with this bumper sticker that I absolutely loved. And it simply said, attitude makes the difference. And I just want to bring this up because many of us in the community, in the astrological community, are having conversations about how much sensationalism people can have about these transits and things. And in reality, it's working whether you're paying attention to it or not. And your life is moving forward, and we are all just like characters in a story or in a movie. We are evolving, growing, and changing. So it's just, can you be a little bit more cognitive in paying attention to what's happening in your life? And I personally find a lot of solace in seeing the patterns and excitement, truthfully, and know that I can kind of have a little bit of a heads up in what's happening if I can look at the patterns. So I just want to share just a tiny bit before I tune out. I just bought this book, which I've been wanting for years, Ram Dass, Be Here Now, really old book. But check this out. It's just filled with all of these sketches, and I'm really excited to look through it. But I did filter through it, and I just wanted to share one thing, which I just love. So it's this image of this guru, this yogi, and he's surfing. It says surfing is the title. And it says, either you do it like it's a big weight on you, or you do it as part of the dance. And I just love that. And again, that's that same thing. Attitude makes the difference. Um, so thank you for tuning in. Sorry, this is longer than I anticipated it would be. If you'll check the info below for my offerings, if you need to check in about your chart, you can go to my website and schedule a reading. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm just beginning to grow it, so that you don't miss a video. Subscribe to my newsletter, my website, can't even talk. Catch my upcoming events and news. So until next time, keep your feet on the ground and your face to the sky. Thank you so much.